and welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and today we're doing another full review episode. Today's full review episode is going to be of the Barr Hill Gin. This is landcrafted in the heart of Vermont. Made with juniper and raw honey. Coming in at 45% alcohol, but that's 90 proof, and yes, you read that correctly. Here we go. We'll give you a quick look at the side. You can read all of that at your leisure. 100% grain-neutral spirit was used with juniper and raw honey. It's a Caledonia Spirits product. Montpellier. There we go. Government warning. You don't need none of that. I already know you. You don't need all that. There's a little bit of background. I don't have to cover most of that. What I will cover is that it is gluten-free. It is a small batch, and this is, I guess that's December 2023, maybe? Anywho, if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. Come on in. Always going to have a good time. All my returning viewers, they already know. Just go take their lead. Just follow them. So I'm going to go ahead and have myself a little bit of a pour. Now, for all the new people, I do not drink gin or tequila straight or neat, except for on the videos. I do have a gin and tonic, a tequila and tonic mixture. I don't normally get into vodkas because there's just, I mean, you got gin and then you got tequila. Vodka is kind of neutered as far as I'm concerned, but I will not it won't be put out in the cold. We'll get to it. If there's something good and quality to go with, we'll do it. So for all the new people, let's do the rundown real quick while we aerate this, off gas if you will, whatever. Mr. Randy does a 3-part series when he does a review for his whiskeys, wines, gins, tequilas, brews, libations of sorts. Part 1, off the rip, get it home, crack it open, pour it in the glass, have my first pour, share my first impression with you because you're just worth it. You really are. Part 2, going to be the halfway point. You like looking at the backside. We know this. This is the ish zone. Mr. Randy stops roughly in the ish zone. He lets whatever left in the bottle sit for a week, 2 weeks, depending on scheduling and other variations. I'll go on the internet, guaranteed to get you as little as possible, but I'm going to spin it in a way you're going to love it. Bring it back to you, present it to you. I'm going to share it. We're going to taste it. We're going to drink it. We're going to score it. We're going to move on to part 3. Down here, called Final Pour. Thusly named, we have the final pour in the glass compared to the first pour of off the rip and everything in between. So this is a twice distilled, or actually that part's a little bit confusing because it does, and sometimes it says double distilled and sometimes it says finished or of sorts. So this is the Barr Hill Gin, comes in at 45% ABV, and where is that crap? Okay, so the price I paid out the door is not the, it was on sale. So I'm going to put the price point right about here. So that being said, normally in my area it is between $35 and $45 on the shelf, not out the door, on the shelf, and it's it's on average about 40 to 45. Some places you can find it for just under 40, probably 40 out the door. So it's kind of an expensive bottle of gin, but it's got a lot to it. So let's go ahead and get on with it. So we did say it was gluten-free. It is small batch. They use a custom still. It is unaged. The final product they claim is about 2% honey. Now, this was originally created in about 2011 to 2012. They started selling it, I do believe, in 2012. And they started winning awards. It is said that this has the most awards for an American gin. I bet there's a whole lot of you know, caveats to that, but we're moving on. They use honey, raw honey from beehives in the northeast in Vermont, and they use wildflower for those bees, and they pollinate and they get the honey, It derives from the wildflowers. And it's also kosher. I don't think I've seen that on the bottle. Did you see that? Yeah, right there. Sorry. It says kosher, gluten-free, unaged. I wonder what that means. Not too quite sure, but we're going to move on. On the nose, there's like lemongrass and honey, citrus. They claim there's lavender, but I'm having a hard time pulling that lavender out. But the juniper, someone said pine, like pine needles. I guess so. But that pine's going to get kind of mixed up in a whole mess. Citrus, lime, lemongrass, honey, juniper. Be kind of hard pressed to pull that pine needle out. Let's go ahead and get that first palating done. Let me go ahead and, I thought about it this time, see. I'm going to silence everything real quick. Everything but the cat. And he's napping. So I think I'm good for a little bit. Okay. First palating out of the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at that glass and see what we can get. Look at those fat legs are running. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and get that second one done. Let's keep rolling. Oh yeah. So as I'm working it, before I expose it to oxygen and aerate it, you do get that very soft, subtle hints of honey. But as soon as you open your mouth and oxygenize it, the ethanol just sort of like does its job, and you get this citrus, juniper. You get all that suddenly rushes in, and the honey takes a back seat. Probably goes right in the trunk. Relatively nice with the viscosity. Transfers well, coats the mouth nice and easy. I like how that transitions from the honey to everything else. Let's go ahead and get one more and then we'll do the finish. I am monitoring my blood sugar with this. I want to see what that honey is going to do to diabetics. If I notice any kind of increase, I will notate that in the description section. And then by the time I finish this bottle and I see that it does, I didn't notice much off, from the first half of the bottle, but I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't notice anything too dramatic, given all things else in my life are stable as far as my diabetes goes. So maybe, maybe not. I don't think so, but I'll monitor it closely now, just for those who might be thinking, sounds good, but the honey is probably going to be a deal breaker. Palate is very nice, but this is drinking it neat. When I put it in the gin, when I put it in the tonic and mix it up over a handful of ice and sip on it, it's very mellow. I think you do lose some of the characteristics, especially with the honey. And a few other of those subtle characters, they sort of get, bulldozed over. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and do that finish. All that dancing around initially gives me a sort of lemonade. It kind of makes me think about lemonade. The citrus, the lemongrass, the tartness, but then the sweetness gives me a very good reminiscence of like lemonade at first. Then it kind of transitions into something else. There's not a whole lot of action. Everything is sub 2. Everything's well under a 2, but over a 1. Lips, gums, it's well rounded. Lips, gums, cheeks, tip, over the top of the tongue to the back. A very little bit of heat. It's like completely balanced. Majority of the flavor characters have subsided. You still get a bit of that sweetness and a bit of that mellow from the honey. It's a very interesting gin. I do believe this is probably the most interesting of gin. It's not geared towards the high botanical. It's the honey, that subtle, mellow sweetness of that honey makes it unique. I was interested when this bottle came up on my radar and it was on sale. I had to try it. Off the rip, I thought it was a little bit much. I was hoping very much so, and I knew I was going to mellow out, but I didn't know exactly how it would balance itself out. It was not balanced off the rip, but it's balanced now. I'm wondering how it's going to hit when we get to the final pour. So now we're pretty much done with the finish. My score on this is going to be, well, since I can't remember what I paid out the door, I know it was really lower than what you will find it now, but we'll have to consider that. We'll just go with the $35 to $40 on average. It's a pretty expensive bottle of gin, and I've paid more, but my score is going to be a weak 4 out of 5. It's very interesting. The honey, the story, there's a lot of transparency with this bottle. I can't remember the guy's name, but it starts off with a beekeeper and then a distiller. These two guys, I guess, were buddies and like, hey, let's use some honey. Bingo, bongo, you got a good gin. There it is. Okay, so my fair price, I would like to see it less than what it is average on the shelves, because yeah, that's going to be a relatively expensive bottle of gin. Probably in the special category, something where you want to bring this out when somebody says gin ain't ish. You know what I'm saying? When they say that gin is, it's not a thing, it's like whatever. Hit them with something special. Hit them with something special. This is nice. And my tablet just turned off, so I just about finished. So yeah, my fair price, I'd like to see it a little bit lower, but then again, for the specialness that it is, I would say, okay, I will leave it alone. I can get it probably 35 out the door. Some places I've seen this, I can get it just a little over 35 out the door. It'd probably be more close to 50 out of most places, $50 out the door. Yeah, so would I buy this again? Absolutely I would. If you have to have a special gin on the shelf, not your average everyday drinking gin like you mix with your gin and tonics, that can be just about any gin. If you're drinking gin neat, this would be the gin to drink neat. There are a few others I've had that absolutely bangers for the neat. This is also now going to be in that group. So there it is. If you've watched the video this far and you like it, go ahead and hit the like button. Most importantly, I ask you, make a comment in the section. You like it? Give me a thumbs up. I just want to talk about it. I want to hear the viewers, you that are watching it. I want to know what you think about it. And as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. Definitely a good one.